Hi, Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. This is the VELCO Weather Hazards Outlook. This will be valid the rest of today, Saturday, through next Friday, February the 13th. And we're looking at the current picture across the U.S. right now, the lower 48 into Canada. And we have very cold air. It's been this case much of this winter. And very cold air across Canada, occasionally dipping into the Northeast United States. A little more of a differential between warmer air, temperatures in the 60s, a little bit of Chinook wind taking place off the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains, and some gusty winds across Montana. But there's a frontal boundary that's lined up very nicely. You can see this depicted with the temperatures being so cold and the temperatures being warmer here. So a big boundary layer, and this boundary is forcing jet stream energy that's been coming in over the Pacific Ocean, and then it moves it across through the Great Lakes, and we're looking at a winter storm watch for several inches of snowfall. This will be taking place Saturday night into probably Tuesday morning as the last of a series of storms works across the region. And it does look like the best project weather is going to be taking place. That'll be taking place along about Tuesday and Wednesday as high pressure begins to build into our region. This morning we've had some snowfall from mostly lake effect plumes that have cut across parts of northern Vermont and into even central Vermont, and some decent snowfall totals. Very fluffy, high fluff factor, low water content, and indeed this is going to be the same situation with the winter storm that's elongated that'll be working across our neck of the woods. Okay, this is the model shot here, and what you can see is this elongated storm system that's very slowly moving across the region. And it's just a swath of snow that's just going to be taking forever. Jet stream energy is going to spin up this area of low pressure, and then it's going to keep that snow continuing to fall. We're talking about light, occasionally moderate duration, so probably up to about a half inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch per hour at the highest maximum intensity of this entire storm system. There's the area of higher pressure that builds in. This will happen on Tuesday morning, and then on Wednesday we're looking at, even though it's going to be cold with the 0 degree surface temperatures here, nice little break in the action for basically Tuesday and Wednesday as high pressure builds in. Here comes the next weather system. This is the colder air mass that looks like it's going to be following as we get into the late part of the week. And you can see the 0 degree surface temperature here getting down. It looks like, boy, trying to get into New York City during the morning hours there. And so pretty cold weather to follow, followed by another weather system. And temperatures, this weather pattern looks like it's going to stay this way. This is the next 1046 millibar high pressure system. This is a big, giant, cold dome of higher pressure. And baby, this means business. This looks like it moves in following into the next weekend. And this area of higher pressure will set up some great project weather, but that's way down the road, but also severely cold temperatures. Okay, we'll check those temperatures now. This is at 925 millibars, roughly 2,000 feet or so. You can see the baroclinic zone real tight, warm to the south, cold to the north. This is the sort of birth grounds of the storm system we're seeing, and this is going to be taking that track across the region. But just to speed this up just a little bit here, you can see where we're going. So once again, the cold to the north, warm to the south, a lot of warmth in Mexico, and again, this will be the battleground, and hence, so this is going to be a very cold air mass. It's a little bit further down the road here. We're going to move this along a little quicker. And this is what drops into Vermont. Looks like, next weekend or so. So cold air mass after cold air mass, just carving its way across a good section of the northeastern 1/3, occasionally 1/2 of the United States. Just a quick check on the total accumulated snowfall, and this would be our snowfall here. And you can see that roughly across a portion of New York into a good section of Vermont, a little less to the north, a little more to say central and southern Vermont. By early Wednesday morning, these are the amounts we're going to end up with. Now this is 10 to 1 snow to water ratios based off, so this is going to be probably more like 15, almost 20 to 1. So these amounts here are low. You could probably add 4, 5, 6 inches to some of these amounts, and this is going to put us over a foot in this particular area of south central Vermont into the Bennington, Windham counties. It looks like Boston's going to be affected again. Again, to the north, these snowfall amounts of 5 inches, you could probably almost double that. I think that the snow to water ratios will be so dry up in this area as the cold Arctic air will be bleeding in that it'll create the higher snowfalls here than what is depicted currently by the European model. Quick look at a mediagram. This is depicted for the Barrie-Montpelier area. We see, first of all, these bars. This is the snowfall amounts. And precipitation roughly is about a tenth of an inch here. So we're talking about several 3-hour or 6-hour amounts here with nearly a tenth of precipitation with a maximum, it looks like, during Sunday afternoon into Monday, but still continuing into Monday. And looks like it exits with better conditions here on basically Tuesday and Wednesday. Another weak weather system, then a little bit better conditions. Now, these are temperatures here, and I want to take you to, looks like the maximum, basically in the mid-20s along about Tuesday afternoon, with colder weather dipping just a little bit below zero. Again, probably colder further to the north, a little bit warmer to the south, so a little bit of Arctic chill here. And then we go back up in temperature and we get colder again. And note that temperatures, at least by the European model, only indicating a temperature, a high of around 0 degrees. This will likely change. I think it's probably low. Again, this is for Saturday or Friday afternoon. Then it looks like we do get into some even colder weather as we slide this just a little bit here. You can see the coldest of the cold. This is probably going to be around Sunday, Monday of early next week. So pretty significant cold Arctic outbreak, but it looks like it's relatively short-lived. Total 7-day accumulation. Where is all the jet stream energy? Well, it's out west, hitting the west coast with the Pineapple Express, adding much-needed snow and rainfall to the higher elevations and lower elevations with heavy rains. A lot of high winds for this area as well. But you can see also there's our storm track that cuts right down through portions of the Great Lakes and beyond into Canada, and then cutting through and into New England. Looks like the heaviest of the heaviest, generally central New England. Northern Vermont seeing a little more of a fringe effect. What about temperatures? This is the high temperature and maximum temperatures. Again, below normal in the blue here by a good 10 to 15 degrees below normal. Again, above normal in a wide area of the U.S. And much of the lower 48 United States has actually been enjoying some relatively tranquil weather with well above normal temperatures for this particular area in the Dakotas and then back into Montana. A lot of Chinook winds coming off the Rocky Mountains. What about 3 days later? Well, checking it 3 days later, we see not a whole lot of change. Still carving out some colder than normal weather across the eastern one-third of the country. And then better conditions, again, continuing well above normal here. You might notice a little bit of a cooling effect here. This is more jet stream energy that's going to cut across into the lower part of Mexico and whatnot. Quick look at temperatures here. Not a whole lot to see here. Highs basically in the teens, lows at night into the single digits until we get into basically Tuesday night, Wednesday, when we're looking at 10 to 20 degree below temperatures and then a bit of a warm up. And then beyond that, this is the most significant we're looking at right now. And the American GFS model is very similar to the European model, which you can give a little bit higher probability or predictability. Again, this would be for Friday night. So we're seeing temperatures into that minus 20 to minus 30 column here. So some pretty cold temperatures ahead. And this is the 4-kilometer NAM forecast, or WARF actually, and this is accumulated total precipitation. You can see that swath also being depicted very nicely by the American models. The GFS is very similar to the European. This looks like a well-modeled storm. So it's a swath of snow that's just going to accumulate as the snow reaches and moves across the region. All of this taking place Saturday night through, it looks like, early Tuesday morning. And you can see some of these amounts are probably overdone. We're talking over 1-inch amounts. That would give us at least 15 to 18 inches. I think that's probably not the case. You can usually cut these down by about 1/3. And the saving grace for utilities is that we continue to see more or less Arctic air push a lot of our worries. This would be the areas where we could see wet snow loading. And as long as you see those bluer temperatures here, this is our storm system moving by the very tail end of the caboose. As long as we see this, we're looking pretty good for utilities and without any wet snow loading issues. And it looks like it's going to stay that way. GFS ensemble model is in agreement, and you can see the major part of this storm here sort of elongated with continuous snowfall. They give us around 8/10 of an inch of melted precipitation, which is pretty hefty. I think it's going to be a little bit less than that, but again, we have the fluff factor in play. And what about existing antecedent conditions? Well, we're looking at some pretty decent snowfall amounts here, even 20 inches up in northern Franklin County. This is not the mountains. This is in the eastern part of the Champlain Valley. A lot of Vermont looking pretty good over the last 7 days here, and southern Vermont getting very nicely into the act. So great for snowmobiling, winter recreation, a lot of powder out there. And this is snow depths as of based yesterday, February the 6th. You can see 32 inches at Walden. Not showing Mount Mansfield. They have a very hefty amount here, but a lot of our mountains and valleys showing up very nicely with some pretty heavy snowfall, 8 inches in Burlington. That's it. Wuthering Heights Consulting. Thanks for watching.